There's a tiny part inside your Volkswagen that costs almost nothing compared to an engine. Yet if it fails at the wrong time, it can turn a perfectly good VW into a massive repair bill. And the scary part? You may not get a dramatic warning before the damage starts. Your Volkswagen might still start normally, it might still drive normally, you may not hear anything obviously wrong. But behind the scenes, one small component can slowly allow a much bigger problem to develop. And by the time the symptoms become impossible to ignore, the damage may already be done. This is one of those VW problems that many owners never think about until they're standing in a repair shop hearing the words they really didn't want to hear. You need an engine. The good news is that this problem usually gives you clues beforehand, if you know exactly what to look for. So before you assume that strange noise, warning light, oil issue, or change in engine behavior is nothing serious, pay attention to what your Volkswagen is trying to tell you, because one tiny part can be the difference between a simple repair and an engine you're replacing. Number 4, the valve that turns your engine into a vacuum pump. This one is barely bigger than a golf ball. It's made mostly of plastic and rubber. It costs almost nothing. And when it fails, it doesn't just cause a problem. It starts pulling your engine apart from the inside. It's the crankcase ventilation valve, the PCV. Here's what it actually does. Every time your engine fires, a small amount of combustion pressure sneaks past the piston rings and down into the crankcase. That's normal. Every engine does it. But that pressure has to go somewhere, so Volkswagen built a valve that vents it back into the intake to be burned again. Clean, efficient, and completely invisible when it's working. Now here's what happens when it stops working. Inside that valve is a thin rubber diaphragm. Heat cycles it, oil vapor attacks it, cold mornings stiffen it. Over enough time, that diaphragm cracks. And the moment it does, the valve stops regulating anything. It goes to one extreme or the other, and both extremes hurt. If it sticks open, your engine turns into a vacuum cleaner sucking on its own crankcase. It pulls oil out of places it was never supposed to leave, and that oil goes straight into the combustion chamber and out the exhaust. Owners notice they're topping up oil far more often than they used to. They blame the oil brand. They blame the driving. They blame everything except a $20 valve. If it sticks closed, it's worse. Now the pressure has nowhere to go, and pressure that can't escape will find a way out. It pushes against your seals. Your valve cover gasket starts weeping. Your dipstick tube starts leaking. And eventually it goes after the rear main seal, the one buried between the engine and the transmission, the one that costs a full day of labor to replace because the entire drivetrain has to come apart to reach it. That's a small valve turning into a 4-figure repair. But the real damage is slower and quieter. All that oil vapor being pulled into the intake doesn't burn cleanly. It coats the intake valves in a hard carbon crust. On a direct injection engine, which is most modern Volkswagens, there's no fuel washing over those valves to clean them. So the carbon just builds and builds. Airflow drops. The engine starts running lean, running hot, and hunting at idle. You'll feel it as a rough idle, a hesitation off the line, a check engine light for a misfire or a lean condition. And a lean, hot-running engine is exactly the condition that cracks pistons and burns valves. So what should you actually be listening for? The clearest sign is a whistle, a steady, high-pitched hiss from the top of the engine at idle. That's air being sucked through a torn diaphragm. Some owners describe it as a faint moan that changes pitch when you blip the throttle. The second sign is the oil cap test, and it takes 10 seconds. Start the engine, let it idle, and slowly loosen the oil filler cap. On a healthy engine, nothing dramatic happens. If the cap tries to suck itself back down onto the valve cover, or you hear the idle drop the moment you break the seal, the valve is stuck open. If the cap fights you and pushes back with pressure, or you see vapor puffing out, the valve is stuck closed. The third sign is oil you can't explain. Fresh oil weeping around the valve cover edge, a damp dipstick tube, a film on the underside of the hood, and the one nobody wants to see, a small puddle where the engine meets the transmission. The fix is genuinely cheap. On most Volkswagen engines, the valve is bolted to the top of the valve cover with a handful of screws and a gasket. and it's an hour of work. On some, it's integrated into the valve cover itself, so you replace the whole assembly. Still far, far cheaper than a rear main seal, and not in the same universe as an engine. That's the whole story with this part. It fails quietly, it fails cheaply, and it destroys expensively. Number 3. The plastic wheel spinning inside your cooling system. Buried in the side of your engine, behind the timing cover, there's a small wheel with curved blades on it. That wheel is the only reason coolant moves through your Volkswagen at all. And on a huge number of VW engines, it's made of plastic. That's the impeller, not the pump body, the little propeller inside it. It spins constantly, sitting in hot coolant, taking heat cycle after heat cycle, and plastic doesn't love that life. Over time, the blades go brittle, then one of them chips, then the center hub loosens on the shaft, and the shaft keeps spinning while the impeller just doesn't. Here's the part that catches people out. Nothing breaks, nothing leaks, nothing rattles, the pump is still turning, the belt is still driving it. From the outside, everything looks perfect, but coolant has stopped circulating, and your engine is now cooking itself with no way to tell you until the damage is already happening. And the temperature gauge is slower than you think. Without flow, the coolant sitting around the sensor can read normal for a while, even while the metal at the top of the engine is climbing past anything it was designed to handle. By the time that needle finally moves, you're already into warped head territory. Blown head gasket, cracked cylinder head. That's the moment a cheap plastic wheel becomes the most expensive part on the car. What to watch for is heat behaving strangely, rather than heat going high. The heater blowing cold at idle but hot when you're moving. The temperature needle drifting up in traffic and dropping the moment you get back on the road. An upper radiator hose that stays cool long after the engine is fully warm. That's the big one, because it means nothing is being pushed through it. The other clue is coolant disappearing with no puddle underneath. When the pump housing starts to go, VW built a weep hole to let coolant escape rather than force it into the bearing. A crusty dried stain around that area is the pump telling you it's already on its way out. The fix is simple, and the timing matters more than the cost. The impeller lives right behind the timing cover, so the labor to reach it is nearly identical to the labor for the timing job. Anyone who does one without the other is paying for the same teardown twice. Number 2. The chain nobody even knows is down there. Most owners know their engine has a timing chain. Almost nobody knows there's a second one. Down at the bottom of the engine, hidden under the oil pan, sits a short chain driving the oil pump off the balance shaft. It's smaller than the one on your bicycle, it costs almost nothing, and it is the only thing standing between your engine and total oil starvation. When that chain stretches, and it does stretch, the tensioner takes up the slack, right up until it runs out of travel. Then the chain goes loose, starts slapping around down there in the dark, and eventually jumps a tooth or drops off the sprocket entirely. At that moment, your oil pump stops turning. Understand what that means. The oil is still in the sump. The level is perfect on the dipstick, but nothing is pushing it anywhere. No pressure to the crankshaft bearings, no pressure to the camshafts, no pressure to the turbo. Metal that has never in its life touched other metal is suddenly grinding against it at thousands of revolutions per minute. And you get seconds, not minutes, seconds. This is why it's number 2 on this list. Every other part on here gives you a window, a leak, a noise, a slow decline you can catch. This one gives you an oil pressure light and about the length of a traffic signal before the bearings are gone. Drivers who pull over immediately sometimes save the engine. Drivers who think, "I'll just get home first," never do. So the warning signs matter more here than anywhere else. The first is a rattle from the bottom of the engine on a cold start, low down, near the sump, lasting a second or two before it quiets down. That's the loose chain slapping before oil pressure builds and the tensioner takes up. Most people write it off as normal cold engine noise. It isn't. The second is an oil pressure light that flickers, not stays on, flickers, on a hard corner, under braking, coming to a stop. Any flicker of that light is your engine telling you pressure is dropping below safe, and it is never something to monitor and see how it goes. The third is a whine or a low drone that rises and falls with engine speed rather than road speed. The hard truth about this one is that it's not really a repair you do after the fact. It's a repair you do on schedule. The pan has to come down to reach it, and if you're already in there, the chain, the tensioner, and the sprocket all get replaced together. Skipping it because the engine sounds fine is exactly how people end up buying an engine instead of a chain. If you only act on one thing in this entire video, make it the rattle at the bottom of the engine on a cold start. Number 1, the part that ends engines. This is the one. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this part. It's a small piece of metal and plastic, roughly the size of your thumb, tucked behind the timing cover at the front of your engine. It has one job and one job only: hold constant tension on the timing chain. That's it. That's the entire purpose of its existence. And when it fails, your engine doesn't get a repair bill. It gets a replacement. Here's why this part carries so much weight. Your timing chain keeps the top half of the engine and the bottom half of the engine in perfect agreement about where everything is. The valves open at exactly the right moment. The pistons rise at exactly the right moment. They pass within a hair of each other, thousands of times a minute, and never touch, because the chain holds them in sync. The tensioner is what keeps that chain tight enough to stay honest. Now, chains stretch. That's normal. That's expected. And the tensioner is designed to take up the slack as it happens. The problem is the tensioner itself. Inside it, there's a ratcheting mechanism holding the plunger out under spring and oil pressure. On a lot of Volkswagen engines, that ratchet wears. And once it wears, it stops holding position. So the plunger creeps back in every time the engine shuts off and oil pressure drops away. Which means the danger moment isn't when you're driving, it's when you're starting. You shut the engine off, pressure bleeds away, the tensioner retracts, the chain goes slack overnight. Then, in the morning, you turn the key, the starter spins the crankshaft hard, and that slack chain whips and jumps a tooth on the sprocket. The instant it jumps, the top and bottom of your engine no longer agree. Valves that should be closed are open. Pistons that should be clear are climbing, and they meet. Bent valves, damaged pistons, a cylinder head that's finished, in an engine that was running perfectly the night before. That's the whole failure, start to finish, in less than 2 seconds of cranking. But here's the thing, it almost always tells you first. This part gives you a warning, and the warning is remarkably specific. It's a rattle on cold start, not a knock, not a tick, not a deep noise from the bottom of the engine, a dry metallic rattle from the front of the engine, right behind the accessory belt area, lasting 1 to 3 seconds after you turn the key, and then going silent as oil pressure fills the tensioner and pulls the chain tight. Then, the engine sounds completely normal for the rest of the day. That is the sound of a chain slapping before it's held. And every owner who ignores it hears the same story later, standing at a counter, being told the engine is done. 2 more clues worth knowing. A check engine light for camshaft and crankshaft correlation. That code means the 2 halves of your engine are measurably out of sync, and it is not a sensor problem until proven otherwise. And a stumbling, uneven, cold start, where the engine takes an extra half second to catch and shakes before settling. The fix is not cheap, and I won't pretend otherwise. The front of the engine has to come apart to reach it, but compare that against the alternative, and it isn't close, because the alternative is an engine, and that's the honest lesson in all of this. Every single part on this list was small, cheap, and easy to overlook. Not one of them failed without giving some kind of signal first.